countdown to the last comic shop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, it is now time for more of the last comic shop podcast.
That is right. Well, we are opening up the shop to newbies, and if they're new, they haven't heard that for the last 3 times. It is the Halloween season. This book is not so much scary as other things. Anyways.
There you go. Yeah, we're keeping the lights on for the oldies and the moldies, especially the oldies, because you have to be above a certain age to read this book. And we're dimming the lights and queuing up the smooth jazz. And it's last comic shop after dark episode, ladies and gentlemen. So let's put on our sultry voices and get ready for some dark and spooky sexy time.
And if you've got kids in the car, this is your cue to turn off this podcast and come back to it later when you are by yourself or with your partner.
Turn it the fuck off! What are you doing?
Turn this goddamn before your kids hear it. See, we're getting it all out of the way. I'm the host of the most, Danny Larson. I'm joined by Chad Smith and Jay Scott, as well as the wonderfully gorgeous Nicole Larson.
He forgot my name!
No. It was the look you gave when I was trying to pay you a compliment. It threw me off my game. I won't lie. It's still the Halloween season, and I hope that you're all getting ready for that spooktacular event later this week. I'm sure that some folks they've already got their Christmas stuff prepped and ready. It's in the hallway. It's ready to go the moment the clock strikes midnight and November 1st. It's all Santa's.
Thanksgiving.
Nobody cares about turkey anymore. I like that of it. Nobody cares.
But before we get into that, why don't we tell everybody, later on, we're going to be reviewing Somna by Becky Cloonan and Tula Lotay. In case you're tuning in for a podcast about comic books, that's what we were talking about in a little bit.
There you go.
Nobody's doing that anymore. They tune out after the first commercial break. It is a game time that we hope
you can leave your kids on.
Yeah, you can keep the kids around for this. This is great. This is mashup.
Yeah,
right.
But later on, we're going Salem Pumpkin Spice Sex Ed. So watch out, kids.
This is mashups. Monster mashups. That's right, the monster mashups. It was a graveyard smash-ups. Ooh. You've never heard of this game before. It's where we have 2 spinner wheels. One's filled with comic book characters. One's filled with somebody else, other characters. In this case, it's going to be classic monsters from movies. So Dracula's, the Frankensteins, the Wolfmen. But long story short, each of us is going to get around. In which we get 2 characters randomly picked from the spinner wheels. And your job is to mash those characters together with hopefully both insightful and hilarious results. So that they not only think we're funny, but they also think we're smart. Because that's what we're going for with this segment, I think. Any case, we're going to go ahead and go from oldest to youngest. So that would mean JA is going to be going first. I will give you your 2 characters. Now, for the comic book characters, I picked famous members of the Avengers, primarily the ones from the MCU. So these are all characters that if you've seen any of the MCU movies in the last decade, you probably know who they are. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. And your first character, JA, is the Black Panther. That's right. So you've got the Black Panther, and you're going to have to mash him up with this classic movie monster, Godzilla! Good luck with all that.
All right. We open our scene in the jungles of Wakanda, where the Black Panther has been going about his business, when suddenly an incursion by a neighboring country sets off a nuclear device which irradiates Black Panther, and he starts to grow. And as he's growing, he's mashed together by this lizard that happened to be walking by at the time, and he becomes the Black Godzilla Panther.
Mwah! Chef's kiss on the name.
I know.
Chef's kiss.
Where did you come up with that name?
What's the lizard part? There's
in the jungle. There's lizards in the jungle. Let him go. I want to hear the rest of this.
So, angered by this incursion, He stomps back to the capital city of Wakanda and starts unholy destruction, smashing buildings right and left. Unfortunately, because Wakanda has vibranium, every time he smacks one of these buildings, it just resounds like a tuning fork.
Boing.
Thankfully, when he was growing in size, his Black Panther costume became rubberized, absorbing these sound effects and sound waves. And at the end of the day, he's just a giant black lizard panther thing that can't destroy anything because Wakanda is made out of vibranium and he's rubber. So he slinks off into the jungle, depressed.
End scene.
End scene.
It's a sad Black Godzilla Panther.
It is. It's actually pretty tragic.
Never seen Godzilla.
You've never seen Godzilla.
That looks like a dinosaur.
That's what he is. He's like a giant dinosaur thing.
Dinosaur lizard.
Whatever.
Thing?
All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
As our oldest to youngest. Good job, J.A. I'm going to be going next here. And first, we're going to get my superhero character.
I still don't understand this game.
The Scarlet Witch.
His favorite bitch.
And who do I get to match that up with? Oh, come on. Give me somebody fun. Give me somebody fun. The Mummy!
Oh, that's funny.
Yes!
You could make the mom Scarlet Witch.
Yes!
Fun.
Exactly.
Why can't I get that one?
Too bad. That's my pick.
I could have totally rocked the mom story.
So yeah, instead of the Mummy, this is the Mommy. Ooh.
Or the Mummy in a British.
No, the Mommy. Oh, that's true too. Whatever. You got Wanda Maximoff. You know she's got the magical powers, and the Avengers decide that she's too much of a threat. I don't know. They put her into these magic bandages and they put her in a sarcophagus because I don't know.
It's magic gauze.
They put her in this coffin thing, and when they put her in there, all of a sudden her magics start going haywire, and the chaos magic flows, and it actually creates a portal back in time. And so this sarcophagus with her gets sent back in the past and ends up in Egypt. And yes.
Does James Spader and Kurt Russell show up?
This isn't Stargate.
Oh, you said portal back to Egypt.
Good question. Any case, she crash lands in the middle of the sand. Centuries go by, and she's in these magic wrappings. And 1920 shows up, and Brendan Fraser's there. And he's like, we're looking for ancient Egyptian artifacts. And they accidentally dig up her sarcophagus. And she pops out and she says, "Where are my kids? Because I'm a mom."
Is Chad asleep?
But no, I'm entertained.
So she's like, "I want my kids." And they're like, "We don't have your kids. It's 1920. Where are the Avengers?" And they're like, "I don't know where the Avengers are. Who are these Avengers folks? I'm Brendan Fraser. I will eventually be in George of the Jungle." And that's it.
And the whale.
End scene. I'm done.
She was gonna wake up and say, "No more mummies."
That too. All right. Let's move on with our next mashup. This one's going to Chad. Let's see who Chad needs to mash up for our third mashup of this monster matchup extravaganza. It's Chad's absolute favorite comic book character, Spider-Man. So we've got Spider-Man, and who's he gonna mash Spider-Man up with? Let's see here. That would be King Kong!
Okay, so it starts all the way in Secret Wars, and Spider-Man's costume gets all messed up. He goes and he's like, "Where's that costume machine?" And Thor's like, "It's in there." And he's like, "Okay." So he goes and he gets his costume. But it turns out it's a new black costume. How cool is that? So he comes back home. And it starts making him more aggressive and hairy. And so he's still doing all his Spider-Man stuff. But he's slowly but surely turning into a giant ape. And he says, "Oh no, I'm going to have to rebrand things. I want everyone to call me Black Godzilla Panther." And then he's going to climb all the buildings. and sometimes smash in the windows. Dr. Octopus is like, I'm gonna get you, I'm Dr. Octopus. And he goes, boom, and there's no more Dr. Octopus because he's a big goddamn gorilla. And Dr. Octopus is all squished on the inside, just little metal arms scurrying away. And so Black Panther, Godzilla, Spider-Man is going around slaughtering villains left and right and left again. And then all of a sudden, who appears out of the tower but the clone of Gwen Stacy? And he picks her up and he's like, this is kind of familiar. They're dangling off of a building. And then the planes come and shoot him down with sonic rays from the real Black Panther Godzilla, who is tired of all of this infringement on his name rights. And he has the Sonics to take care of business. And from then on, Black Panther Godzilla Monster and Spider-Man Black Panther Godzilla Kong Monster are mortal enemies, and they feud in the seas forevermore, forever wreaking havoc across the world.
Ooh, I like this.
Wow.
Really good job bringing in Jay Hayes. I think we need to get a t-shirt made. Black Godzilla.
No,
Panther.
you guys could do your shop and have the Godzilla, Black Panther, Spider-Man guy climbing up the
Evolution.
Or they could be fighting in the background. Yeah, that would be great. All right, we got one more monster mashup.
I don't know how this is gonna go, guys.
This one's going to the wonderful Nicole. So let's get her character.
You remembered my name that time.
That's true. It's gonna be the Hulk.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, she knows who the Hulk is at the
I
very
know who
least.
they all are.
Yes. And the Hulk is going to be mashed up with...
I don't know if I can come up with a story this quick, guys.
Dracula! So you've got a vampire Hulk. Come on, it's awesome. You know you can do it.
Okay. So the Hulk went to Pennsylvania to rescue somebody else from the Avengers.
Sure.
Who got trapped there after their plane crashed.
Okay.
That's done. And so he was trapezing through the forest and stumbled upon a castle, and it was cold and dark, and he was a little hungry, so he decided to stop in.
Is it Goldilocks?
He's from Hungary? You have Hungarian Hulk?
He's from Hungary. And he went into the castle, and lo and behold, there was this creepy old dude at the castle who said, come in for dinner. And when the Hulk wasn't looking, this dude bit him in the neck. Dracula.
Okay. Yeah, I figured. I was hoping. We haven't
I was
got
going
to
to
the
ask what that
sultry
guy's
stuff.
name was.
Dracula bites the Hulk in the neck, and that made the Hulk turn into Red Hulk.
Oh, yeah, the blood Hulks. Yeah, I see.
But
I like it.
the Dracula-ness and the blood and the Hulk fusion made him like extra big Red Hulk, and so he got so big that he just like burst through the whole castle, like essentially blew up the side of the mountain that the castle was on.
Wow! So he exploded. He grew so big, and then he just
Yeah.
Wow! That took a turn.
Yes.
I was just turned into a big blood fountain.
In my defense, y'all, I was not forewarned. I was going to have to do this. But I don't know that any warning would have helped my story.
No,
I'm not good at creativity. Like, this little person's going to the grocery store, and that's about as creative.
And they went to the grocery store and then filled up with blood and exploded and killed everyone on the mountain.
So, you know.
But at least they had coupons.
We got time for one last one. So this is going to be a bonus round where all four of us are going to contribute to the final character mashup. So it's kind of like one of those stories you used to play, like the telephone story, where somebody's going to start off, then say,
Do we each get a line?
yeah, sort of like that, and then you tag in the next person, and then they have to finish the story by the end. So let's go ahead and get our last character here. So first, we're going to start off with the Marvel character. Who do we got? Oh, Robert Downey Jr., the Iron Man. So he is going to be our Marvel character for this bonus round, and the final monster will be who? The Invisible Man. That's right. So we'll go the opposite direction. So youngest to oldest.
Okay. There once was a tale of two men.
Neither of which had an Uncle Ben. But they decided they would get together when one guy said, "Hey, Iron Man, this is how you can press this button and turn your armor invisible."
And Iron Man was like, "I don't know. I didn't know this existed. Wow. How did you know about this? Like, I even built this armor and I didn't know about this. What kind of creeper are you?"
But all was not well in the world of Iron Man, because once he had disappeared, Kevin Feige showed up and started to sweat bullets, because suddenly nobody wanted to watch anything anymore.
There was no more Robert Downey Jr. It's all just Eternals movies, and they sucked.
Well, Kevin Feige demanded that Invisible Man negate the power that he had given to Iron Man to make him visible again so that the peoples can watch the movies.
That's right. So the Invisible Man had to give Robert Downey Jr. a whole lot of money to come back as Dr. Doom.
And fandom was skeptical about what might happen next. But Invisible Man said, "It's going to be okay. We're going to work this out. It's all going to be good."
But the sad irony was they advertised this movie by showing a bunch of whole chairs with invisible people sitting in them with celebrities' names on them.
Some of which might not be in the movie, so they will truly be invisible by the end.
Hey!
Is it true that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Dr. Doom?
Yeah, he's coming back.
Yes, and now all the nerds are coming up with all the different theories about how it's Iron Man from a different dimension, and no one gives a shit.
Well, but it makes no sense. He's got like one of the best known faces in the franchise. You can't be two people.
We're going to see how it all works out, but that won't be until next December, so we've got plenty of time.
December of 26.
And that's the thing about Dr. Doom's. You're not supposed to see his face. So he can't have anybody under there. It'll be all right.
But I want to see his face.
That's right. We want to see not only his face, but we want to see sexy comic books, and that's coming up right after this. Sultry, spooky comic books with Somna. Right after this commercial
is where you
break.
Kick your kids out.
That's right. Enjoy this commercial break. Yay!
I don't know why I had to tell my story with a bad Pittsburgh accent, but I'm going to keep it for the rest of the show. For a sexy story time.
BCWSupplies.com has everything a comic collector could need. Boards, bags, long boxes, and so much else for our ever so increasing collections. And you can save 10% on your total order by using promo code LCSPOD at checkout. Not only does this take 10% off BCW Supplies' already low prices, but it supports my favorite podcast, The Last Comic Shop. So get all your collecting gear at BCWSupplies.com and save 10% on your order with promo code LCSPOD at checkout. That's LCSPOD at checkout. Happy hunting!
Being a PI, you learn fast what seems like a normal case never is. You never realize how much you're going to need your friends. You can never guess how near your enemies are. And you never know who to trust. Now I'm chasing down an ancient artifact, the only thing that can stop this newly unearthed terror. It sounds crazy, but I'm not thinking how nuts it all is. All I can think about is the only man who's ever managed to grab my heart is right at the heart of this mystery. And why? Every time my heart gets involved in anything, there's always a monster waiting in the shadows to break it.
Ripped from the pages of the self-titled comic book comes Dash, a new queer supernatural noir podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Podcast Dash, on Instagram at dash.noir, or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we're back with more of The Last Comic Shop, and it is now time for our Read Pile Review. Yes, that time of every single show where we ask your kids to politely leave the room, because, again, this is M for mature. This is a book with lots of sexy pants. Plus spooks, because it's got some witches and stuffs in it. So, like, it fits. It's also an Eisner Award winner. So that was another reason why.
They have an Eisner Award for porn?
They got an Eisner Award for everything. Everything. Any case, who worked on this, J.A.?
All right, so Somna from the new publishing house Distillery, spelled D-S-T-L-R-Y, no vowels. Story and art by Becky Cloonan and Tula Lotay. They shared both the art and the storytelling. There would be sections where Becky Cloonan did the art, and other sections where Tula Lotay did the art. They shared the story as well. Colors were handled by Lee Lawridge on the Cloonan art sections, and Tula Lotay and Dee Cunniff on the Tula Lotay art sections, with letters by Lucas Gattani, and that is Somna, Swedish for fall asleep.
Ooh, I did not know that. Thank you.
Interesting, because sleeping is very much not what our main character did in this book.
She's sleeping around. Don't you worry about that. All right, its accent's too sexy. I can't handle it. I'm going to have to switch back. Too sexy. All right. Nicole, why don't you tell us what the story was about while I adjust and get rid of all the sex.
This story is about, I don't know, it never says where it is or when it is, I don't think, but medieval town, let's say. No, I guess it must be around the witch hunts. I don't know when
Puritanical
it is.
England. I think it's Puritanical England. So 1600s.
And there's just been a witch burned at the stake. And this Ingrid, her husband's the kind of police dude that is responsible for that. And long story short, he's not really giving it up to her. So she lets the devil inside of her, literally. Multiple times, many times, in her dreams, maybe dreams, not real, sure. And then there turns out to be some other smutty stuff going on, and some conspiracy theories, and maybe that person was a witch, maybe they weren't, maybe they were set up by this other chick and her lover dude that were like getting it on, who then killed their spouses. It's very convoluted, but guess who gets called the witch at the end? Yeah, because the devil's inside of her.
Oh, yeah!
Deep.
The devil's inside.
Deep
There you go.
Wow!
Oh, my.
Wow!
There was that one cover where we had that venom tongue. I imagine it's making waves. Yeah. So I always like to try new stuff. And so I actually found these books at one of our local stores, and because Distillery puts out the oversized, like the treasury size edition comic books, sometimes it's harder for them to find an audience. I actually found the full run in their buck bins and brought it home. I was like, all right, cool. Tula Lotay art in here with after Barnstormers. I was all about the Tula Lotay. Becky Cloonan's always a good storyteller. And so I sat down and I read these books. And then I'm like, I probably shouldn't keep these books. I'm going to get in trouble. And so I gave them to Andy.
So I gave them to Andy.
That's right. Because I'm just...
Who gave them to his wife?
Hey, well, you know what? I like to share. I thought they were fine. Yeah, I agree, Chad, that one of the major reasons that I wanted to read this book is because of Barnstormers and the Tula Lotay art.
More clothes in Barnstormers.
That's true, but it's still gorgeous. Like, it's still absolutely gorgeous art. Sure, we're going to talk a lot about smut, because that's what this is. This is smut. But it's high-class smut. It's that kind of smut that you give to your wife, and you're like, hey, this...
But you guys are always talking about bringing a new audience, and you know who this audience is for? This is for the book talk ladies. The ones that are passing around all the smutty titles of books on TikTok and whatnot.
Yeah, all the romanticities.
Who needs romance when you got the devil inside you, man?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. No, it's like you got the whole. It's I was picking up Salem witch trial vibes with we're being accused and her husband's the witch finder guy, and it turns out he's not a good witch finder because all his tools are kind of dull. So when he goes to use them, it's like, oh look, it didn't draw blood. She must be a witch. They're all witches.
Maybe if he would have used his other tool on her, she wouldn't have needed to go to the devil.
That's why it was dull. That's why it was dull. There's a lot of.
What was his deal? Why wouldn't he want to get with her? I don't know. Whatever.
It's because it was like those olden days where they,
In these olden days, I thought dudes just took what they wanted when they wanted.
Well, I kind of wanted to get an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit more about over the years, like a lot's come up about the Salem witch trials and like basically women exploring like their power, assert themselves like independently. And like, again, this particular girl, she wasn't getting it from her husband. And there's this guy and she's like, all right, so she's asserting like, shame on you.
But the guy was a demon.
Whatever, but shame on you. Like, and then they burn her at the stake, which I thought was like completely unfair because she didn't do anything wrong. You read this book, Ingrid did nothing wrong. It was a dream. She was having slutty dreams. Who hasn't had a slutty dream in their life? Please. This other girl that's with
Maya.
She's
the evil one.
She's flat out murdering people and getting other dudes to murder other people and then claiming that her friend's a witch when her friend stood by her. It's ridiculous. I was so incensed. I was so incensed that I had to read the book at least 3 more times.
No, there's an audience, I'm sure. I mean, if you read some of the stuff that folks are reading to, listening to out there, I mean, the only thing is that, maybe people wouldn't feel comfortable having visuals like, because you can listen to a smutty audiobook with AirPods on and no one knows what you're listening to.
Oh,
there's a little bit of a visibility factor.
Well, I did want to ask Nicole, because Distillery does like mature adult graphic novels. And we've been a little bit crass in discussing this, but this is meant to be a little bit arty. This was a feminine book to me. Like, it didn't feel gross in like the masculine gaze
exactly.
kind of
compared
way.
Compared to some of Andrew's screensavers. Characters. No, this was actually quite, I would say, respectful and praising the female form, right? It was clearly drawn by a woman, right? And it was showing her being pleasured in a very, sensual, not...
It was still pretty graphic. I was surprised at the graphicness
the devil's... The whole time his major mission was to give her an orgasm, and that was pretty much what he was after.
But there's nothing wrong with that. Orgasms are a natural part of our lives. No, but I'm just saying it celebrated the female form. It didn't feel derogatory. This was done well.
Okay. I mean, again, this won Best New Series at the 2024 Eisners, and a couple quotes that I wanted to throw out here from either the time in which Tula and Becky were accepting their award or shortly before or after. For example, Tula and Becky actually had been working on this book for almost a decade. So it took them a long time, even though it's pretty short. And
it's a quickie.
Tula Lotay said, few comic book collaborations have been this intimate. Becky and I were not only collaborating on the writing and art across a given issue, but sometimes on the same panel. Somna is a dichotomy of art and ideas. It's proudly erotic, but often brutal in its implications, and we are grateful for its overwhelming reception. Now, again, speaking of that reception, the hardcover edition of Somna sold out before its release and was immediately rushed into back print. It was so electric, and so many folks were picking it up that it ended up having to be rushed into a second printing immediately. I want to talk to J.A. about, again, like the collaboration aspect of this. The art styles and the merging. You're always often somebody that likes to talk about the art. And the art is getting away from the material of it, the actual execution of the art. I want to hear your take.
The way it's done, Becky Cloonan's art is sort of the here and now, what's happening in the real world, if you will. It is in your face. It's very clean lines and sort of what you would consider a more modern comic book look. Where Tula Lotay's art is the dream sequences, and it is much more ethereal. The colors are a bit more airbrushed. You get that classic Tula Lotay look that works so well in Barnstormers. Here, to be honest, I think it doesn't work as well. And I don't know if she was trying for this, but it became very repetitive. Every dream sequence, it was the same, come hithery look on the protagonist's face, and it wasn't as interesting after the first or second time. I was like, okay, I've seen this. Show me something else. Give me something more. You're not developing the character as much as I wanted to. It was so shocking it became unshocking.
I'll agree with J.A. Like, first part of the first book, I guess we had it in 3, was like, holy cow, you know? But then as the dream sequences went on, like you said, it was very repetitive in terms of like, that's all he could offer her, the devil or whatever. And it fell a little flat, right? Like, I get it that he's temptation and, you know, trying to satisfy her or whatever, but like, you'd think there would have been more to it than that, right? Whether he could have played on greed or something else other than just like the lust component to it. I'll also say, in terms of the art, some of the dream sequences, I got a little confused. The faces were changing and I didn't know exactly who they were changing to. And I assumed that was part of her dream. And like, sometimes she was seeing like her husband, and then sometimes she was seeing the other dude that was cheating on his wife. And I got confused by some of that because it was just so not as clear cut to me. I don't know if anyone else felt that way.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was almost like empty calories. Some of these dream sequences, they were so beautiful, but they didn't go anywhere. They didn't tell you anything. They didn't add to the story, to be honest.
The only thing that did was when he took her to the hunter's cabin and like showed her Maya and Sigrid getting it on, right? Because that did move the plot forward, that Maya was going to, you know, eventually come back and stab her in the back. But that was the only time that the devil demon orgasm dude really, again, did anything else to move the plot forward.
Yeah, I agree. And it's rare for a story that was, you know, there were 3 oversized issues, but it's like, well, it was probably about too many for the story they were telling. Like, the story itself seemed relatively basic. I don't think this one was necessarily about the story per se as much as the feelings and the sensuality and the, you know, they explored a lot of notes over and over again, but it was about, you know, putting you in that moment and the temptation there and all that other stuff. And so I can see what they're going for, but I also agree that the execution might have been a little long of the tooth, or, you know, I don't know how to put it, because it's just, the story to me seemed like, oh, we're just doing the Crucible, but sexy, you know.
Which is how I feel like people have done that before.
But in comic books?
No, they haven't. And again, I want to peel back that onion layer one last time before we leave. Did you get these graphic images in this particular book? Is that going to be something that's going to, I don't know, turn people off? Like, they're going to be ashamed to pick up a book like this? Like,
and on the person, I guess. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ladies out there reading smut, so I don't think that it's that they're afraid to explore that in their, you know, consumption of media. I just, you know, again, I don't know if a woman is just going to randomly pick up this comic book. You know, I think that's a little bit of a jump, but no, I'm sure it serves a purpose. There is a need probably for some mature, as Chad put it, feminine content, right? Could have moved at a different pace, and yeah, I'm not sure if it needed to be as long as it was, or.
Yeah, but the thing I go back to is like the reception of this, you know, was off the charts. And so I get the feeling that like we might not be the target audience for this one, but it's nice that distilleries out there and they're putting out books for adults, and even adults that, you know, are looking for something more mature. And like, I'm sure there's a need there for high class smutty stuff.
You know, when things get sold out before they're even out, it always makes me a little bit sus, right? Like, same thing happens in books, right? These books are pre-selected to be featured on Jenna's book club, Reese's book club, Oprah's book club, or whatever. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're great, you know, just it's what gets the press. So, I mean, for something to sell out before it even releases doesn't necessarily, to me, indicate that it was the...
I mean, from a business standpoint, that's really bad business. That means you're not meeting demand.
Well, let's slow down here.
You're creating demand. I'm with you, Nicole.
No. Only hitch in your giddy up here is the fact we're talking about the hardcover release of the collected editions. These were initially solicited and sold as 3 individual issues. So, like, the story was out there by the time the hardcover was released and sold out. So it wasn't like, you know, people knew potentially what they were getting with this. And Like, what they get is great. Like, the Becky Cloonan art is fantastic. The Tula Lotay, the dream sequences feel like dream sequences. The snozberries taste like snozberries. It's just, I feel like this is aimed at an audience that might not be us.
Well, and to go back to the audience difference and my book talk connection, right? I mean, I once in a while will enjoy a smut book. I tend to just at some point in my reading need to have a throwaway, don't think about it. And sometimes if it's got a little sexy stuff in it, that's cool too. And those themes in those books are super repetitive and they're not literary genius, right? So is this okay that it's not that far from The Crucible, or it's kind of a retelling of a story you've heard a bunch of times? Maybe, because that seems to be what the smut book industry is like. And I hate
but that's what gets me is the reaction, though. Like, the reaction is obviously one that there's a good chance, like, we're just seeing this on one surface level. And there's got to be something we're missing to unpack because of, all the high praise it's got from in the industry. Like, Eisner Awards aren't just like Joe Schmo. They're people that know what they're doing.
Are they doing this to females? I mean, it's like the Academy Awards, right? I mean, how much of that is executives or whoever gets to vote in that stuff versus the actual population? I mean, who knows?
All right. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to get our ratings for this particular book, and that's coming up right after this commercial break. So stay tuned for our final thoughts on Somna, as well as what we rated it, and some recommendations to finish off your Halloween season. Stay tuned.
Madison is on the air.
What happens when 20-something Madison is zapped into old-time radio shows? No technology.
I want to go to voicemail.
No Starbucks.
Don't call yourself a coffee shop if you only sell drip coffee.
And no one is PC.
I don't need no lip from...
Were you about to say woman? Because I'm wearing a gun and I have no idea how to use it.
Madison on the Air serves to highlight the way we were and the way we are today, with original radio drama scripts adapted to include the modern-day Madison as she joins famous characters from radio's past, including Sergeant Joe Friday.
Just the facts, ma'am.
I've never actually said that.
Marshal Matt Dillon.
We're not having a shootout with a 10-year-old kid.
I'm too woke to be a part of this.
Superman.
I didn't realize how cold it would be flying like this.
I have to get into the higher atmosphere.
And many more. Visit us on the web at madisonontheair.com or find us pretty much any place podcasts can be found.
You talk so old-timey. I have no idea what you said, but it's adorbs.
All right, we're back with more Last Comic Shop, and it is now time to get to ratings, where it's time to put the lights down low, put on some candles and some soft music, get out potions and lotions.
Someone make him stop.
And 1 out of 4 scale for all of our listeners. Yeah, I mean, there's a bathtub scene. She's all in that bathtub. She's loving that. She's loving that.
She is all in a bathtub.
She is. It's a dog in a bathtub.
Aye. Jay, help us out here. Get us out of this, buddy.
Jay can't even look at us right now.
Jay!
Yeah, so in honor of one of my favorite singers, we're going to go 1 out of 4 dreams.
Dream in a bathtub.
I think is it the Cranberries? That's a good song.
Zombie!
Stevie Nicks, Fleetwood Mac.
Stevie Nicks. Oh.
Wait a second. Hold on. I didn't know that Fleetwood Mac was one of your favorites.
I like Fleetwood Mac. I like the early stuff when they were a blues band, and I like some of the Buckingham Nicks Stevie.
I was going to say, you like them. What was the green? It was Green Trees.
Peter Green.
It was one of the albums before they, Lindsay and Stevie joined. So I'm a little bit of a Fleetwood Mac snob because I'm not a huge Christine McVie fan, so I only really like the Stevie and Lindsay songs.
Wow. What about Tusk? I like Tusk with the band.
What about a rating scale? All right, we're not a music podcast. No, we're not doing this. We're going to start off with who I feel is the target audience for this particular book. Chad said a lot like we're not the target audience, but I think Nicole is the target audience for this particular book. So Nicole, how many dreams you given this?
Dry dreams or wet dreams?
Whatever you want. Goodness. All in a bathtub. Let's go.
Oh, sorry. You guys just left that wide open. You just can't ignore that. I don't know. The art was fine. The art was pretty. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The first kind of scene, I was like, oh, okay. So, could get turned on by that a little bit. Because, I mean, who doesn't want to be pleasured?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And if their husbands aren't doing the trick for them. They have to take matters into their own hands sometimes. But, the story was a little flat for me. So,
okay.
I don't get the whole, award winner-ness of this. Sorry.
J.A.
Is it a bit reductive and a similar story that we've seen before? Puritanical town, male authority scared by female sexuality. Yes, but it's done well. I really like the Becky Cloonan sections of the story, both the story and the art. I thought that the Tula Lotay dream sequences worked, though they did get a bit repetitive towards the end and sort of reduced the sex to really heavy petting and fever dreams, if you will. In a story that's all about sex, the sex was the least interesting part of the story by the end.
Well, you know what they say about idle hands.
No, Chad, what do they say about idle hands?
Yeah, what do they say, Chad?
The devil's playthings. And so, anything else to do with their hands? What am I going to do with his hands? I'm going to go take a bath.
Am I glad we had to read it? I guess, maybe. Would I recommend it to somebody else? I don't know. I guess it's about 2.5 for me. And I really wanted to love it because I really did love that Tula Lotay in Barnstormers. That to me was a much better story, though.
Yeah, I'm going to agree, I think. I think I'm going to give this a 2.5 as well. I like J.A., wanted to fall in love with this. I looked at that first cover with her kind of half under the water, kind of breathing like the blood / rose petals, whatever it happens to be. Just a gorgeous first cover. And when Chad gave me these issues because he couldn't have the sexy pants near him, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. And so I read it. And again, it's a quick read. You can get done with this in less than a half an hour for sure.
Typical male.
What can I say? But then you want to go and you want to read it again. Wait an hour, get yourself a sandwich, take a shower, get back at it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about.
Eat some mangoes. Just
That's right. Hey, you know what? So I've read it a couple times. And by the last time I read it again, I felt bad for the Ingrid. I got involved with the story, and I do agree, like J.A., that the dream aspects of this book, the sexy pants parts, were not the interesting part of this story. It was all of the machinations and the murder mystery that kept me coming back and wanting to read again. So, I feel like that's kind of the Becky Cloonan parts of the book, and so I really enjoyed those parts, and that's primarily the reason I'm going to give it 2 points. But I'll recommend it. If I find some woman that's out there being like, oh, I love them smut books, I'll be like, hey, you know what, Somna, check it out. You love it. You'll love it. It's good. It's a good book.
I didn't know you read it so many times.
Yeah.
Is that why the pages were so sticky?
You're hilarious.
It's like that Chad's blushing with everything we say.
She's saying these things just to get Chad's goat.
She's saying them just to get a rise.
Hey now.
That's why Chad's going last. Chad, what are you saying?
Anyway, I'm going to go slightly higher. I'm going to say 2.75 dreamy sequences. I think the art in this book is beautiful. I really enjoyed the Tula Lotay dream sequences. The way Tula Lotay draws characters it's easy to fall in love with. You know, it is very sexy. It is very sensual. It does put you in that. You know, I think it's very effective for what it is. And the Becky Cloonan art, I thought she was a great storyteller. And I can't help but think that something that we're missing, and I'm not a mature adult. I'm not old enough to read this stuff. I keep giggling at all the dirty parts. And so I feel like there's more to it that we haven't unpacked somehow. And this wasn't my first time I read it. I read it a second time. And so I knew going in, okay, this is what the basic plot was. And I still, the art is enough for this one, even though I felt like the story was kind of one note. I feel like the art is so beautiful, and especially if you're getting it in that larger treasury format, it's a different experience than you're going to get from a Marvel or a DC comic. And so I'm happy that Distillery is out there to serve a different audience. This one, obviously, I don't think I was the target there, But I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad there's more Tula Lotay and Becky Cloonan art out in the world. So I feel like 275 is a low grade, but at the same time, as much as I enjoyed the art, it's like, okay, this is just the Crucible in sexy comic book form. Whatever it was that I'm missing, I still missed it. So 2.75.
All right. Well, we're hoping that you don't miss recommendations. Yes, that time of every single show where we give you other comic books in addition to Somna, which you can pick up perhaps in some of those oversized Treasury original issues, perhaps in the hardback version. I don't know if they came out with a trade paperback yet, but for sure, if you can find it, I would recommend picking it up. It's a good story.
I did see they even released, Distillery did, a book that's a collection of all the different cover art.
Oh,
and so like there's lots of Somna out there to be had.
But in case you want more than just Somna, here are some other comic books and other things you might want to pick up at your local comic book shop today. We're going to start off with J.A. Scott. So J.A., what do you got for us?
I am recommending Demo by Brian Wood and Becky Cloonan. This is one of her first efforts as an artist. She didn't write it. Brian Wood was the writer. This originally came out in 2003, was a 12-issue miniseries from AIT Planet Lar. You can get it in trade paperback under Vertigo because she released a second set with Vertigo. They bought up the license for that. So it's essentially 12 issues. Each issue is its own standalone story, and it deals with teenagers sort of coming of age and getting a superpower and then how they deal with it. The first issue, this girl, her mother has been feeding drugs to her to suppress these powers that are coming out. They're kind of like Carrie from the movie Carrie, that sort of power set. And she ends up running away with her boyfriend, and she goes through withdrawal, and then the powers come back, and there's an onset, and it destroys like a gas station they're at, and they end up going to New York City. And the second story is about a girl who, when she tells somebody to do something, they do it. So if she says drop dead, somebody will drop dead. And
like the Purple Man.
Yeah. And so she's dealing with, like, she told her mom to shut up or something and made her mom a mute, stupid person, and now has to take care of her. Sort of how she's dealing with not being able to talk in this world and feeling very alone. So each of these stories is sort of a coming of age. It's all black and white. Becky Cloonan's art is really raw, and the layouts are incredible. And it's just inks and line work. There's no shading. So it has a very manga feel to it. And it's just incredible. You can get it in trade paperback from Vertigo, or if you can find the original issues, they came out again back in 2003 from AIT Planet Lar.
Ooh, I might have to check that out. I'm curious about this artwork. But one thing that I was also curious about was another dynamic matchup of two fantastic talents who came together on a particular book. That would be Harold Schechter, who was one of the true greats of true crime literature. He was the author of Deviant and The Serial Killer Files and Hell's Princess. And he teamed up with 5-time Eisner Award-winning graphic artist Eric Powell, who a lot of comic book fans might know as one of the primary artists of The Goon, to basically retell the story of arguably one of the most famous serial killers in the United States, and that was Ed Gein. So the book is called Did You Hear What Eddie Gein Done? Tells the story of Ed Gein, who was the real-life true serial killer who killed 2 women, was digging up graves, making furniture out of the dead bodies, eating, cereal out of people's skulls, all kinds of crazy things on a Wisconsin farm in the 1950s. He was the original impetus for Robert Bloch's Psycho book, which eventually Alfred Hitchcock made into a really, really famous movie. But in this particular book, man, it's disturbing, but at the same time, you cannot put it down. It tells the story of a domineering mother who tortured and just made Ed Gein into a real mess. And then ultimately what happens after that as his particular evil is just unleashed on this small Midwestern town. And if you've never actually experienced this particular true crime story, I think that the Eric Powell art in this is perfect. For those folks that may know about the Goon, like, again, Ed Gein just looks like a real evil, but also sorry looking. Like, again, a kind of a monster that would be in one of these towns where people would be like, I didn't know that guy was doing that. I would never even thought of Ed Gein. But yeah, if you're a huge fan of Silence of the Lambs or Psycho or any of those things, did you hear what Eddie Gein had done? Is right up your alley. Pick it up this Halloween season. Chad.
So I'm going to go back to one of the last books we read that had some more adult tones and something that sprang from there. And I'm going to recommend Minky Woodcock, The Girl Who Handcuffed Houdini by Cynthia Von Bueller out of Hard Case Crime Comics and Titan Comics. Now, earlier this summer, we had interviewed Cynthia Von Bueller after the release of Minky Woodcock, The Girl Called Cthulhu. And it was absolutely fascinating. But in the process of reading that book, I went back and read some of the back catalog. And The Girl Who Handcuffed Houdini, I think, was even more of my favorite because there were some definitely mature adult themes. It's not for the kiddos. There definitely was a lot of historical fiction going on in that book. This one involved Henry Houdini and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and their feud over spiritualism, and there were cults of spiritualists, and you would have intertwined with this, crime book, this historically factual based story that obviously, didn't happen in real life, but it touched on enough stuff that everything was super interesting to me. The story was fast paced and exciting and titillating and all those things that people are looking for whenever they're reaching for stuff like this. And so, yeah, if this is your bag, I definitely would recommend Minky Woodcock, The Girl Who Handcuffed Houdini, and then go back and check out our interview with Cynthia Von Bueller this summer. She just is one of the most fascinating people we've ever had the chance to talk to, whether it's her doing these adult-themed graphic novels or her writing children's books or touring the country with a giant puppet. There's so much going on there. But yeah, so that's my recommendation for this week.
All right. Nicole, finish us out here.
All right. Well, I have kind of two odd recommendations. So my first, if you want to go back to Somna and witches, and you like to have a little bit of smut mix in your witchcraft, is actually a Netflix show based off of a book series, and it is called The Discovery of Witches. And you not only get witches and sex, but you get some vampires and some demons too. And it's just a 3-season show. And if you're more into reading your smut, you can check out the All Souls trilogy set, and Deborah Harkness is the author. And then just because Andrew reminded me of it, I haven't actually gotten to read this book. I've asked to read this book on the show, and it hasn't happened yet in how many years?
No.
5. But speaking of Wisconsin serial killers, my era of Wisconsin serial killers, which, it's not making me too proud to have Wisconsin as my home state, but this was my childhood, was Jeffrey Dahmer. That all happened when I was in elementary school. And so you could check out My Friend Dahmer by Dirk Backdorf. And this is supposedly the story of what it was like to know Jeffrey Dahmer before he became Jeffrey Dahmer, high school era Jeffrey Dahmer. And this is kind of a true story. So I am still waiting to read that for the show. I guess if I wanted to, I could just read it myself.
Yeah.
But it's always funner when you can come on here and talk to some dudes about it.
It's been on the list to do a movie mayhem for some time because they also
I can't watch the movie.
They made a movie of it too, so we could do both. We have to if we're gonna do it, and they had a movie adaptation of it. Come on.
Just don't make me watch the show that Netflix made, because I tried to watch one episode of that stuff, and man, that actor was good, but it was freaky.
Well, one thing for sure is that the Last Comic Shop will be around for the rest of 2025 and into 2026. And you can make sure that you don't miss any of our episodes by rate, reviewing, and subscribing over at www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com. We're finished up with all of our spooky books. We're going to be moving into November and then December. 5 weeks of DC books. We've got Nicole coming back for December, by the way. We're going to be reading, that Pride book. Yeah, that Pride book about the lions, because that's a Vertigo book, and technically that counts as DC. So,
because Jessica Jones isn't. Am I coming back?
You're coming back for Jessica Jones next month too. We're going to have her back for Jessica Jones.
Does November have a theme?
No, it does not. It is just
for November.
I'm not going to shave my mustache. That's the one thing, or grow a mustache. But I don't know, something with going on with November and
Movember.
It's the mustache things. Who cares? But make sure that you're rate, reviewing, and subscribing so you don't miss any of these episodes with Nicole coming up in future.
And if you must ask us a question, you can reach us on our socials at Last Comic Shop Podcast, primarily on Blue Sky. But we're out there on the threads and the Instas and all that other stuff. But you can go there and find interesting factoids, covers, all sorts of fun stuff. And if you get confused, you can always circle back to our website. It's www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com, where we offer a wide variety of links to previous shows. And Jay, what else do we have on our website these days?
We always have a link to our merch store. We sell t-shirts, coffee mugs, tote bags. During the spooky season, you can get the Bats in the Belfry Halloween-themed Last Comic Shop Podcast t-shirt. And this week, a special on pajamas.
Those silky pajamas.
So that if you're having those dreams and they get a little bit icky, you at least have some pajamas to soak it up and keep it off the bed.
We're the Last Comic Shop Podcast. We don't be the Last Comic Shops. We also encourage you guys to get out there and visit your local comic shops where you might find stuff that's going to help take your minds off the things that Jay was talking about. Maybe it's books like Somna by Becky Cloonan Tula Lotay. Maybe it's things like Demo, which has more Becky Cloonan along with Brian Wood. Maybe it's Did You Hear What Eddie Gein Done by Eric Powell and Harold Schechter, or The Girl Who Handcuffed Houdini, that Mickey Woodcock book by Cynthia Von Bueller. Or maybe you just want to chill out and turn on the old Netflix and watch The Discovery of Witches, or find that book by that Harkness lady, which I don't think that's her real name, but who knows?
Harkness, yeah.
A long line of Harknesses.
And see, we're already forgetting about my friend Dahmer. We're already forgetting about it. It's never going to happen on this show.
Don't worry, kids. It was only my childhood. Whatever.
I promise sooner or later. I only get so many picks. Yeah, whatever. And we got you coming back for Jessica Jones. You want to rather read Jessica Jones or My Friend Dahmer?
I want to read Jessica Jones with you.
Well, there you go. We'll have you back for that episode coming up. And until then, I was the host with the most with Andy Larson. I was joined by Jay Scott and Chad Smith, as well as the beautiful Nicole Larson.
Don't I have to tell them about your promo code?
Real quickly, do it.
Oh, yeah. And if you're out there looking for comic book supplies or other collecting supplies, check out beastwsupply.com. And if you use our promo code LCSPOD, you can get yourself a little discount and, show a little love to the shop.
Well, there you go. So stay safe, stay discounting, and remember that vampires are terrible artists. They only know how to draw blood. Woo!
That was a vampire joke that sucked for sure.
Comic Shop Podcast was a 2025 Black Angus production.